I started working in different companies after college. I graduated with a fashion merchandising degree. And at some point, I was recruited by Dior, which was
Wow.
a lifelong dream. So I could not have been more excited to step into this beautiful, glamorous world. It felt like the culmination of everything I was working for. In many ways, it was very exciting and I had incredible experiences. I got to go to Paris to do training. I got to see fashion shows. I had clothing allowance, all meet designers, all these beautiful things. After the honeymoon phase, if you will, wore off, I started to realize that I was giving my whole life over to this world. And I didn't have room anymore for a personal life, for family, for friends. I was just working more and more and more. And the better I did, the more was expected of me. And there was just no balance. So I ended up burning out. And what that looked like for me was I ended up in a neck brace. As can happen, the universe swooped in and interceded because
Yeah.
I did not know how to create that separation for myself. So I got sidelined by this injury. And the culture I was in was so challenging. And I was so conditioned in it for so long that when I was laid out injured, not able to even put my hand over my head to brush my hair,
Wow.
I had a very high up person call me and ask me to get on a flight for a corporate visit. And I actually thought about doing it.
No thought for, oh, you're injured, you can't even move. It was business.
It was the panic set in
Yeah.
of like, oh my gosh, I have to figure out a way to be there. And my doctor said, absolutely not. And then also HR at the time stepped in and said, absolutely not. We can't have you doing that. They shouldn't have even asked you that. But I was in that mindset where I thought I needed to show up and be there because that was my whole world. I realized that was my whole identity. So that pause, which I now consider a sacred pause, I was out of work for a month, became the window for my transformation and my starting to undo all of those patterns of overwork, of putting my self-valuation on being part of this company and part of this glamorous world, of thinking that my full worth was in what I could produce
Yeah.
instead of who I was.
I think that is very common, is we put work as our identity of who we are.
Yeah.
And for me, there were many years where I didn't really have such a corporate career and I felt so insecure about myself because who was I? And what is the first question people ask when you meet them? What do you do?
Right.
And so we put that on each other, that you should be identified, that your identity comes from what you do and not who you are and what you bring to the world. So things can happen to us, not just burnout where we collapse or something internally happens. The universe puts something at you that you have to stop. So
Yeah.
for you, it was a neck injury where you still wanted to continue
I tried.
because you felt you had to, right? Your conditioning was like, no, I have to show up. This is who I am. And then no, the universe said, no, 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 no. We're going to take a month where you're going to have to sit with where you're at to find out who you are.
For the first time in a long time,
Yeah.
my phone wasn't blowing up 24/7. I wasn't constantly fielding texts and calls and emails, and I could actually think and start to hear my intuitive voice again. And that's when the threads started pulling and everything started to unravel. And that week was when I decided to quit my job and leave corporate.
Big move.
Huge shift.
Wow.